So here's Jamie's top 3 knots for today. So firstly, we're going to do the Bowline, we're going to do the Hitch, and we're going to do some sort of a fender knot as well. So the Bowline is arguably, or Bowline, depends how you pronounce it, but is arguably probably the most used knot in the world. So what a Bowline is in fact a loop that doesn't slip. And you could use this for a variety of reasons. So tying to the clews of sail, you can use them as dock lines, any time that you need some sort of a loop that doesn't slip. So it's not like a noose that would slip, it's a non-moving loop. So the way that it works and the way it was taught to me in primary school was you take a piece of line, you decide how long you want the loop to be, you put a bend in the rope, and you need to make sure that the working end, as in the end of the line, is on top. So the way that I do that is I just simply twist the rope towards myself, I take the end, and the way it was taught to me was the rabbit goes up the hole, goes round the back of the tree, and then back down the hole again. And then you pull the whole thing tight, and you have a Bowline. Okay, so now we're going to try a hitch. So a hitch is any time you maybe want to tie a fender to a rail, you might want to tie a line to maybe another line, and a hitch is just a very simple common knot. So if I come over here to this line here, the way a hitch works is I go round the object, the line that I want to tie to, then I'm going to cross over my initial line, and that will create a loop or sort of a circle there, a gap, and I'm going to poke the end of it through there and then tighten the whole thing up. That's called a hitch. Now there are a couple of variations on the hitch. One of them is what we call a slippery hitch, and some people find this a little bit easier to do. So we start in the same way. We go around the object that we're tying to, which is usually a line or a lifeline or something like that, cross over, and then we poke through the bend of the line. So in this case, not the end, we don't pull it all the way through, we just do the bend and we tighten that. And the reason this is called a slippery hitch is because it holds on one side, but it slips on the other side. So that's called a slippery hitch. On tall ships, we actually call it a gasket as well. And then another type of hitch is called the rolling hitch. Now the rolling hitch is maybe my favorite knot of all because it's pretty clever, and it means that you can slide the line one way, but it won't slide in the other direction. So the way that it works is we start off like a normal hitch, just going around the line, but then we have to make sure that our roll is a little bit tighter than we would on a normal hitch. And instead of just doing one and crossing over, we're going to do another loop that actually pinches the rope that we're tying to the other rope, and maybe do that 2, possibly even 3 times, depending on the thickness of the line, and then finally poke the end of the rope through, and that creates a series of rolls. That's called a rolling hitch. The whole purpose of a rolling hitch is that the line will slide one way, but it will not slide the other way. And it's really great for alleviating pressure on one side of the line if a line gets stuck, for example. So now we're going to tie a fender to the lifelines, and I'm going to show you a couple of different knots to do that. The first knot is either some variation on the hitch, so just a normal hitch, a slippery hitch, or the rolling hitch that we talked about before. So we hang our fender over the side of the boat, make sure that it's at the right height for the dock that we're about to approach, and then the hitch that we use on the lifeline goes around the lifeline, cross over the line down to the fender. That makes a little loop here behind, and I then poke the end of the line through there. That's the hitch. That's a great fender knot if you need the fender to be able to move up and down. We did talk a little bit before about the slippery hitch, which is just poking the bend through as well. The advantage of this one is that it's quite easy to do. You can move it easily, but you can also undo it quite quickly if you need to. The disadvantage to that knot is that it can also slip off quite easily. So sometimes I avoid doing that one if I think the fender's going to move around quite a bit. The other variation on this, if you're pretty sure that the fender doesn't need to move, you can actually tie it around the stanchions, so these things over here, and it means that the fender won't move as much, but it'll also not rub up and down on the wire, causing friction to the line. So the knot we use for that is called a round turn and 2 half hitches. So we go around the base of the stanchion and then tie 2 half hitches to the line itself. And that's a really great knot because it means that there is no friction between the line or the lifeline, and then you're not wearing out your lines in the process. I'll just show you how to do that one. So you set your fender height to the water, Then we go all the way around the stanchion, do a full turn around like that, and then we're simply going to do 2 half hitches going down the line to the fender and hang the rest over the side of the boat. And that's a pretty secure knot there, meaning that there is no friction at this point, and the fender is secure for the duration of your stay.